The blessed personalities, the blessed personalities, the blessed personalities, the blessed personalities.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Salatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen. Amma ba'd, fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Salatu wassalamu alayka ya Rasulallah wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Habiballah. Salatu wassalamu alayka ya Nabiyallah wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Noorallah. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, welcome back to our program Blessed Personalities, in which we will talk about the blessed companions alayhim ridwan and the prophetic family of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. Subhanallah. In today's program, we'll be talking about the third Khalifa of Islam, Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala an. But before we start, let's hear virtue of reciting Durood upon the best of creation alayhi salatu wassalam. Sayyiduna Shaykh Abdul Hasan Bistami rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi said, I pray to Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala to see Sayyiduna Abu Salih Mu'azzin in my dream. My prayer was answered and I saw him in my dream in a very good condition. Allahu Akbar. I inquired, O Abu Salih, tell me something about you. He rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi replied, I would have been destroyed if I had not recited Durood, Salat upon the beloved and the blessed Prophet in abundance. Allahu Akbar. मेरे आमाल का बदला तो जहन्नम ही था, मैं तो जाता, मुझे सरकार ने जाने ना दिया. सल्लु अलल हबीब सल्लल्लाहु अला मुहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa baraka wa sallam. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, it has been reported that Sayyiduna Umar bin Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu and Amir al-Mu'mineen Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, they were busy doing some work instructed by the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. Now in the meanwhile, Salatul Asr drew near. So Sayyidina Umar Farooq Azam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu asked Sayyidina Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu to lead the salah. Upon that, Sayyidina Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu said, you are more deserving than me, and the Prophet ﷺ has given you preference over others and appreciated you. Sayyidina Umar bin Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu replied, I will not lead because I have heard the holiest Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, how excellent is Usman. Allahu Akbar. He is my son-in-law and husband of my two daughters. Allahu Akbar. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala has gathered my light, my noor in him. Allah. Sayyidina Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu then said, my dear viewers of Madani Channel, that I would not lead salah because I have heard the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, Allah has completed Islam with Umar. Subhanallah. Sayyidina Umar bin Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu then said, I would not lead salah because I have heard the merciful Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, even the angels feel shy before Usman. Then Sayyidina Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, Allahu Akbar, then stated, I would not lead salah because I have heard the Prophet of Rahmah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying that Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala has accomplished deen by Umar and honored the Muslims. Allahu Akbar. Sayyidina Umar bin Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu said, I would not leave salah because I have heard the beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, Uthman will collect the glorious Quran and he is the beloved of Rahman Azza wa Jal. Then Sayyidina Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu said, I would not lead because I have heard the blessed Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, how excellent Umar is. He looks after widows and orphans and feeds them when people are asleep. Sayyidina Umar bin Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu said, I will not lead because I've heard the noble Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, Allah Azza wa Jalla has granted forgiveness to Uthman who prepared the army of Jayshul Usra, Ghazwa Tabuk. Sayyidina Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu said, I will not lead because I have heard the Prophet ﷺ supplicating in this way that, O Allah, grant us dignity by Umar bin Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and the beloved and the blessed Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam named you Farooq, and Allah Azza wa Jalla has distinguished between truth and falsehood by you. When the Prophet of creation, the peace of our heart and mind, the most generous and kind, the comfort and coolness to our eyes, the owner and the distributor of paradise, heard about this conversation, he sallallahu alayhi wasallam prayed for both of them and appreciated the courtesy and excellences of this manner. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, as the beloved and the blessed Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam is the most superior and the most virtuous of prophets of all, similarly, the blessed companions of the beloved Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam are the most superior of all the companions belonging to all the other blessed prophets alayhimus salatu wassalam. Similarly, the blessed Khulafai Rashideen, the rightly guided successors, are the most superior of the blessed companions as well as amongst all four Khulafai Rashideen. Amir al-Mu'mineen Sayyiduna Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is the most superior. Thereafter, Sayyiduna Umar Farooq Azam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Then Sayyiduna Usman Ghani, and then Sayyiduna Mawla Ali Mushkil Kusha radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, we will listen about the eminence and dignity of the Caliph Amir al-Mu'mineen Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. In both times, the pre-Islamic period, which is known as the age of ignorance, and the Islamic age, Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was known as Uthman. The excellence of their lineage, subhanallah, what can be said? That Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is honored to trace his lineage back to the Prophet alayhi salatu salam in the 5th descent by Sayyiduna Abd Manaf radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Thus, after Amir al-Mu'mineen, Sayyiduna Mawla Ali Sher Khuda radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu traces his lineage back to the Prophet ﷺ by just 5 descents. In the pre-Islamic age era of ignorance, the kunya of Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was Abu Amr. And later on, when he radiyallahu ta'ala anhu got married to the beloved and the blessed daughter of the Prophet ﷺ, Ruqayya radiyallahu ta'ala anha, and Allah tabarak wa ta'ala blessed them with a luminous son, namely Sayyiduna Abdullah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Thus Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu had the kunya Abu Abdullah after the name of his beloved son. Both kunya affiliations are famous, but Abu Amr is mostly known. Now, in the age of ignorance, as well, Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was regarded amongst the noble and honored figures of his tribe. Everyone had always been fully overwhelmed by his great and powerful disposition, character and mannerism, as well as his grace and majestic eminence. It is for this reason that he radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was very soft-natured and very kind-hearted, subhanallah. Although he radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was extremely rich, his lifestyle was very simple, and he was a true example of modesty and shyness. Even in the age of ignorance, his blessed personality was free of all evil practices. Rather, he radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was endowed with all great virtues and characteristics that the people of Quraysh themselves used to show their deep devotion and attachment towards him. So this devotional love developed and grew to such an extent that mothers used to say whilst making their children go to sleep, subhanallah, my Rabb, and I love you, likewise the people of Quraysh love Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala. Subhanallah. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now let's talk briefly about the blessed appearance, subhanallah. Amir al-Mu'mineen Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was a man of the most graceful appearance and had an awe-inspiring personality. His height was medium and he had a lovely and handsome face with a pinkish white glowing complexion. He had large cheeks, long ears, beaming and bright teeth, a broad chest, wide shoulders, with a distance between shoulders, strong and impressive calves, rather long arms, curly long hair on his blessed head, in conformity with Sunnah style, hanging below the ears, i.e. Zulfin Sharif. The blessed beard of Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiallahu ta'ala anhu was thick, like the blessed beard of Sayyiduna Umar Farooq Azam and Sayyiduna Mawla Ali Mushkil Kusha radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and thin skin covered with golden hair. Having such handsome and awe-inspiring personality, Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiallahu ta'ala anhu was a man of modesty and shyness. Allahu Akbar. Sayyiduna Salma bin Akbar radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrated the tahband, the large piece of cloth wrapped around the waist of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiallahu ta'ala anhu, would come to the mid-calf, and he radiallahu ta'ala anhu used to describe it, its reason, that هَكَذَا كَانَتْ إِزْرَةُ صَاحِبِي. Allahu Akbar. Wow, subhanallah. I.e., the tahband of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam would also hang in the same way, i.e. by mid-calf. Allahu Akbar. How excellent, subhanallah, is the passion of following the sunnah of Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Subhanallah. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, let's listen to some of the titles of Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiallahu ta'ala anhu, along with his background description. First title, Zunnurain. He radiallahu ta'ala anhu is also known as Zunnurain, i.e. possessor of two noors, because the noble Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave two of his honorable and blessed daughters hands in the marriage, one after the other, to the honorable Usman Ghani radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Sayyiduna Ruqayya and Sayyiduna Kalthum. It is for this reason that he radiallahu ta'ala anhu is called Zunnurain. Ala Hazrat, subhanallah, Imam Ahmad Raza Khan rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi states, pointing to this fact, that Noor ki sarkar se papaya dushala noor ka, Noor ki sarkar se papaya dushala noor ka, ho mubarak tumko Zunnurain joda noor ka. Subhanallah. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Second title is Jami'ul Quran, the compiler of the Holy Quran. One of the remarkable titles against the magnificent service of compiling and safeguarding the glorious Quran is Jami'ul Quran. Sayyiduna Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, with the consultation of Sayyiduna Umar Farooq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, had collected the manuscripts of the glorious Quran from various places during his period of ruling. But still three types of activities were left to be carried out. First of all the text to be copied into one manuscript, then sending copies of the same manuscript all the big cities of the Islamic countries, and lastly was to instruct all to recite in the accent of the Quraysh. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala chose Sayyidina Usman Ghani radiallahu ta'ala anhu to carry out these blessed actions. Compilation of the Quran was accomplished according to the divine pledge. It is for this reason that Sayyidina Usman Ghani radiallahu ta'ala anhu is called Jami' Quran, i.e. the compiler of the Holy Quran. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Third title of Sayyidina Usman Ghani radiallahu ta'ala anhu is Mujahhizu Jayshil Usra. The third great title of Sayyidina Usman Ghani radiallahu ta'ala anhu, which is mentioned, it refers to the helper of the army of mere means. Now, the Islamic army which was prepared on this occasion of expedition is Tabuk, is known as Jayshul Usra, because the army set out during the hard time of searing heat and scorching summer season of Arabia, and the location was also miles away. Sayyidina Abdul Rahman bin Khabbab radiallahu ta'ala anhu has narrated, I was present in the blessed court of the beloved Prophet Ali salatu wasalam, who was motivating the Sahaba Ikram Ali Muridwan for the battle of Tabuk. Sayyiduna Usman bin Affan radiyallahu ta'ala anhu stood up and said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, I take it upon myself to donate 100 camels along with saddles and other related provisions. The beloved and the blessed Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam then resumed his inspirational efforts. Sayyidina Usman bin Affan radiyallahu ta'ala anhu stood up again and said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, I bear the responsibility of contributing 200 camels with all the provisions. Allahu Akbar. The Prophet ﷺ then resumed his motivational efforts once again. And Amir al-Mu'mineen, Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, stood up once again and said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, I take responsibility of donating 300 camels with all its provisions. Subhanallah. The narrator further reported, I saw that when the beloved and the blessed Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam heard this, he sallallahu alayhi wasallam came down from his pulpit and declared twice that from today, whatever Uthman does, he will not be held accountable. Allahu Akbar, Subhanallah. Imamul Askhiya, Kardo Ata Hissa Sakhavat Ka, Qanaat Ho Inayat, Dena Daulat Ki Farawani. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ta'ala, ala Muhammad, sallallahu ta'ala, alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Now, Mufti Ahmad Yar Khan Naimi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi has stated that bear in mind that this was only his announcement, but when the time of actually delivery came, he radiyallahu ta'ala anhu gave 950 camels. It was said 300 in an announcement, but when the delivery time came, 950 camels, 50 horses, and 1,000 ashrafis, i.e. gold coins, and later on he radiyallahu ta'ala anhu donated another 10,000 ashrafis. Hakim al-Ummat Mufti Ahmad Yar Khan Naimi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi stated, note that he radiyallahu ta'ala anhu initially committed to 100, then 200, and then 300, i.e. 600 camels in total, not 100. And when they said 200, that doesn't mean that 100 is minus just extra 100 to make 200. No, it was 100 plus 200, which will make us 300. And then they said, I'll give 300 more. That means 300 plus 300, which is 600 camels in total. Subhanallah. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, the fourth title of Sayyidina Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is Sahibul Hijratain. Subhanallah. That Amir al-Mu'mineen Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu used to spend abundance of his wealth for the propagation of Deen Islam. Similarly, he never lagged behind to present himself for Deeni services. And he radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is also known as Sahibul Hijratain, the one who migrated twice. Because firstly he migrated to Habsha, Ethiopia, and then to Madinatul Munawwarah. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallama. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, let's hear about Sayyidina Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu in the light of the blessed ahadith of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. As it is normally observed that a bondsman remains occupied in praising and glorifying his owner or master, but how great and marvelous is it when an owner also expresses praise and qualities and virtues of his bondman and shows deep appreciation for him. Amir al-Mu'mineen Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is also regarded as one of those fortunate people who had been conveyed with glad tidings by the Prophet ﷺ, and sometimes the Prophet ﷺ called him to be his heavenly companion. Sometimes the Prophet ﷺ conferred upon him the title of perfect, modest person, and sometimes the Prophet ﷺ, subhanallah, announced that his intercession will bless the people with Jannah. Let's listen to four blessed sayings of the Prophet ﷺ. Number one, Usman radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is from me and I am from Usman. Second one mentioned Tariq in Damashq. Every prophet has a companion, and my companion in Jannah is Usman bin Affan radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. This one's also we mentioned in Tariq Dimashq. Number 3, by the intercession of Usman, 70,000 people will enter Jannah without accountability, upon whom hell would have been binding, upon whom hell was wajib for. Number 4, modesty is from Iman, and the most genuinely modest one from my ummah is Usman radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Subhanallah. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, these were some of the few things in regards to Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And subhanallah, what can be said in regards to Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu? That he was the supporter of the helpless. Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, my dear viewers of Madani Channel, was the individual who the Prophet ﷺ loved very dearly. Sayyiduna Imam Malik radiyallahu ta'ala anhu has stated, Amir al-Mu'mineen Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu once visited that part of Jannatul Baqi, holy graveyard in Madinatul Munawwara, which is known as Hashi Kawkab. He radiyallahu ta'ala anhu stood over there at a spot and said, a person will be buried here very soon. Sometime later, he radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was martyred, and the rebels created such a clamor and discord at his funeral, and he radiyallahu ta'ala anhu could not be buried near the grand green shrine of the Prophet ﷺ, nor in the cemetery of Jannatul Baqi, where the other Sahaba alayhimu ridwan were buried. Instead, he radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was buried at a place that lies afar and is known as Hashki Kawkab. No one could even imagine that he radiyallahu ta'ala anhu would be buried there, as no grave was present in that time also. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallama. Sayyidina Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was a very soft-natured and kind-hearted person. Although he radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was extremely rich, his living was very simple, and he was a paradigm of modesty and shyness. Sayyidina Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was incredibly generous and never cared for his children, property and life. Whenever he radiyallahu ta'ala anhu came to sacrifice anything in the way of Allah, he radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was also known as Sahibul Hijratain, the one who migrated twice. Because firstly, he radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was migrated to Habsha and then to Madinatul Munawwara. His deep passion of following the Sunnah is highly appreciable and commendable. He is remembered with many blessed titles such as Zun Nurain, Jami'ul Quran, and Sahibul Hijratain. And it's mentioned that Sayyidina Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu bought a well for 35,000 dirhams and donated it in the way of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala by donating it for the Muslims. So my dear viewers of Madani Channel, we should also follow the footsteps of Sayyiduna Usman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala anhu and become a model of tolerance, generosity, and kind-hearted nature and humbleness. It is not only to improve our character, but also develop a love for us in each other's hearts, and calling towards righteousness also become easier. May Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala privilege us and by becoming a true example of courtesy and excellence of manners by following in the footsteps of the blessed companions alayhim ridwan. Ameen bijahi nabiyil ameen sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam.
The blessed personalities, the blessed personalities, the blessed personalities, the blessed personalities.